Now we're going into round 5. We took one loss, so we're in the 5-round competitive constructed league in MTG Arena. We're playing the mono blue tempo deck. Again, I'm sorry if you're watching the supercut because you've heard this a few times, but if you want to see the list, there's a actual deck tag. I'll leave that in the description below. And the deck is a little bit janky in the sideboard. There's some cards that I don't want to be playing, but I don't have enough common and uncommon wild cards to get the deck exactly as I want it. But the main board is exactly the way I want it, except for I need one more Spell Pierce and one less copy of Dive Down. Hopefully, I think I'm getting Facebooked right now, but I didn't remember to turn those notifications off, so you guys are going to hear that for a minute probably. Let's go ahead and go into round 5, or I guess this would be, yeah, round 6, because I lost one and won 4, and either I'm going to get the 5 wins, or I'm going to go 4 and 2. What I'd really love to see is an opponent that's just playing some type of a green deck. We can pretty easily win those matchups. Like if we're on the play and it's mono green Stompy, then we just play land, 1-drop pass. If they play an elf, we can go ahead and play the Trickster on their upkeep to tap down their elf to stop them from playing a 3-drop on turn 2. And usually that's enough tempo, especially if we have a copy of Curious Obsession, to just run them over. And then game 2, if we can gain access to sleep, it's going to be the same thing. We're able to get in pretty easily, so we'll see. Currently waiting. I think the last round always takes the longest to fire because we're probably waiting on someone else who's either 4-0 or 4-1. I think that's how it works, but don't quote me. Someone who does this way more than I do can probably tell you. If you are new to watching this type of content, I would recommend you go watch, I think his name is Noxious. He's got a pretty cool channel. He's actually the guy that I was watching. I was like, you know what? I'm already on YouTube doing other things, so I think I'll just hop on. I'm playing a bunch of MTG Arena anyway. Maybe I should just record the games and put them up so people can see them if they want to. And I'm going to be grinding with Mono Blue for a while, so you'll probably see a few leagues with this deck. I'm probably going to do some drafting and stuff too. I'm not a very strong draft player. But my goal is to get some of a control deck built because that's what I typically play in Constructed. Okay, so opponent goes first. I have Storm Tamer, Nightfall Sprite, Wizard's Retort, which is turned on by Storm Tamer, Curious Obsession, and 3 lands. We are exactly 1 Mistcloak Herald / 1 Dive Down away from this being perfect, so we're going to keep it. Don't play a red land on 1. That could be very bad for us. Okay, that's... It's an Izzet Guildgate, so it's a red land, but it's not the worst red land. We're just going to go ahead and deal with that. And thankfully I've got 2 monitors, so I'm just going to get rid of my Facebook so it doesn't keep making noise. So we've got the Lightning Strike, which is unfortunate, but we wouldn't be able to counter it if you played it behind the beat anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we will cast a copy of Nightfall Sprite and just keep playing into removal. Hopefully we can run them out and draw something like a Djinn. Tempest Djinn. It would be really neat if this is a Merfolk Trickster, although this flies, so I guess it's way easier to blouse up with Curious Obsession and consistently hit. So that's the Goblin Electromancer. Let's combat first, just because if he's playing Electromancer, he's certainly playing a lot of ways to interact. So let's see if we can find a Dive Down or a Spell Pierce or something, not an island. This is the reason Nightfall Sprite's actually a reasonable card. And let's just go ahead and go for the tempo play of getting this Goblin Electromancer off of the board for a turn. Make him recast it. I'll have Exclusion Mage, which means if he doesn't deal with Nightfall Sprite now, I can use Retort to protect it. I'll get in with the Exclusion Mage, offering the trade, which he almost certainly will not take. Instead, he's not going to play anything, which makes me feel like maybe I don't blouse up the Nightfall Sprite because the chances of him having multiple pieces of removal are pretty high. So we're just going to get in 4-3 and try to find like a Dive Down or something so we can continue pushing damage. Mistcloak Herald, not exactly where we want to be right now. We would much prefer to draw a piece of interaction or a Djinn. I was going to say, it'd be really surprising if he decided to remove that after the fact, after I already got my Surveillance. So now we're going to cast Charter Course, and if he tries to interact with it, I will have to interact with his interaction. So there's our Dive Down. There's our Trickster. I believe we've already played land we have. And the Trickster is going to keep Wizard's Retort on if he's able to do it the Exclusion Mage. Dive Down is going to turn on Curious Obsession. We should be able to take over the game pretty quickly from here, unless he has a very good next couple of plays. We do need to let Chemistry's Insight resolve. Now, we're only going to counter like a Planeswalker or some type of very unreasonably hard to interact with spell. If it's like a Goblin Electromancer, we'll happily just tap it down with Merfolk Trickster, holding Dive Down to protect Nightfall Sprite. So we're going to just allow this Electromancer to resolve. And here he's going to fight with Fire the Night Veil Sprite. I could just dive down. He's tapped out. So maybe the play is to just dive down. Yeah, I think that's the case. Just because I'll have Wizard's Retort, and I'm going to start to get in with more damage. But I don't want to put like my Curious Obsession on a non-flyer, because it seems like he's going to have some guys on the ground, at least got an Electromancer. The second Wizard's Retort is almost, I don't want to speak too soon, but it's almost a nail in the coffin for this guy, because I'll be able to cast them both. We're going to get in with both creatures, just because we're absolutely fine if he wants to block the Exclusion Mage. So we don't want an extra island, it turns out. What we could go for is like another copy of Dive Down. Okay, that's very interesting. I'm surprised he's going to take this trade. It seems like decks that play Electromancer really want Electromancer to stay on the board. Another land. We've already played land. Yeah, we'll just keep it like this. We'll keep beating down with the Night Veil Sprite. If he plays a Niv Mizzet, we'll be able to tap that down. Ideally, maybe draw into something cute, like an Exclusion Mage. Although, I did just realize that Wizard's Retort is effectively off. So we are going to cast Merfolk Trickster. And then we're going to Wizard's Retort the Izzet Viceroy. I love the audio for Alzaric. Alright, so we are going to be getting in 4/4. And I love this interaction so much. So that's a dive down. We're ultimately going to keep the dive down. We're going to want to protect this Tempest Djinn. Board wipes on 6 that he could have. None that are relevant that I know of. So we're just going to go land, Tempest Djinn, and just have Wizard's Retort and dive down. And we should just be able to win the game next turn. I don't think there's any out with as much mana as he has. Yeah, that's not going to be good enough, that's for sure. I could always counter the Enigma Drake, but there's no reason to. I don't think. Let me see, he's got 3 lands, and if I counter it, could he have Lava Coil Shock? And then I have Dive Down, so maybe I do just counter the Enigma Drake, so I can just guaranteed clock it next turn. It seems much less clunky to do it that way, so we are just going to counter the Enigma Drake since it can get up in the air and block my Night Veil Sprite, and just one more instant puts it at trading with Tempest Djinn. And if he counters Wizard's Retort, we're in a decent spot. Not a great spot, but a decent one, because we still have the Dive Down. We're still going to be able to get in with either the Tempest Djinn or the Night Veil Sprite. I can't imagine he keeps letting me get with Night Veil Sprite. So there's the Ionized. That's going to resolve. So we're going to see an Enigma Drake at a 4/4 power, and I imagine he's going to block the Tempest Djinn to try to just get it off of the board, and that's where Dive Down comes in, and I have just way too much advantage. There's a chance that I don't even use the Dive Down, because I come in for 4, draw a card, and then if I get rid of the Tempest Djinn, if he tries to interact with the Night Veil Sprite in any way, I can dive that down and keep drawing cards, and then I just take the trade, which honestly seems fine. But I don't know, because if we do dive down the Djinn, then he has to deal with it, but then I'm out of it. Well, we'll see. Let's see what we surveil first, before we make any crazy decisions. So that's a Mystical Herald. This card might be a little past its prime. If I had another copy of Curious Obsession, I'd probably keep it. Let's see what he blocks here. I got to imagine it's Tempest Djinn. So they're gonna trade, and if they don't trade, he's kind of gonna try to burn off. I know he's got a Chemist's Insight. He doesn't have enough mana available to interact in a meaningful way. Maybe I do just dive down here. I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Just to put him at dead next turn, unless he can find interaction, and maybe this is a good card. It's something. It'll protect one of my creatures. So even still, thinking about that play, I don't know what I was supposed to do, whether I was supposed to let it die or not. So Crackling Drake probably just isn't good enough. I will Curiously Obsess this Tempest Djinn, just so something draws me a card. And then everything but the Storm Tamer will attack. Just because I don't want Storm Tamer to die. Well, I guess if Storm Tamer dies, he dies. So maybe, yeah, it doesn't matter. He conceded. I think I would have gotten him with the Storm Tamer there just because it's obvious I have no cards. It doesn't really matter what I draw. I'd just rather him have an aneurysm thinking about blocking the Storm Tamer Mage and realizing he can't. Maybe I wasn't supposed to attack with it, but I think ultimately you do, just to force the damage. Okay, so he's still a control deck, but he's playing the Drakes, which makes me think he's on Niv Mizzet, which makes me think that I should be playing a card like Sleep, but that's probably a trap. Night Veil Sprite is probably very bad in the draw. I've been saying that, and I think I'm going to stick by that. Essence Scatter, I think he plays enough Drakes where I actually want to keep my Essence Scatters in my deck. Dive Down is probably at a premium. I like this negate. Warkite Marauders are going to sit his Drakes down on the ground for a little bit. Merfolk Tricksters are great. My deck actually looks pretty good. It's very difficult to figure out what I want to bring out against a deck like his. Maybe the Merfolk Trickster just isn't enough of a premium. Let's see here. Mistcloak Herald and Star and Storm Tamer are very good for obvious reasons. Mostly Curious Obsession and the Dive Down / Spell Pierce interaction early. Merfolk Trickster's great because he can be flashed in. That's pretty easy. Maybe I don't want as many negates in against this deck. I think I will trade an Essence Scatter for a negate. Could be wrong there. But I'm going to do it because I'm running out of time to sideboard. Let's try it like that. Let's try bringing in a couple negates and the extra Dive Down, which shouldn't even be in my deck, and try to play it like that. See if that does anything for us. Because if we can win this game, then we go 5-1, which I'd be very happy with for this league. Alright. Let's see what our opening hand is. Hopefully it's like land, dive down. Well, that's most of what I wanted. We're one dive down or counterspell short. We're going to keep it. Being on the draw means we have a decent chance to draw into something. Alright, another land isn't actually where we wanted to be. We are just going to play the Mistcloak Herald. We could just play back and try to protect it. I don't know that that's the play, though. I could be playing this deck completely wrong. Maybe this is a card I want to hold back and try to protect. But it just seems very weird. I think I just let him burn off the creatures that are coming down early, so he's got way less interaction. I don't know, though. One thing's for sure. Well, Let's cast Curious Obsession, because I drew the Dive Down. That's interesting, though. I don't know. I think it's just the correct play to always... Like, this is what I consider the nuts hand, to have Dive Down, 1-drop, and Curious Obsession. So it seems wrong to try to outplay my opponent. And if he doesn't interact with it this turn, I am just super stoked. So he's going to Lightning Strike. I'm going to have to Dive Down. Fiery Cannonade or another burn spell next turn is going to hurt, but I think I need to draw the card, and I need to make him have it. Especially on the draw here, where I definitely am playing from behind a little bit. Wizard's Retort, not bad. That's going to put this Merfolk Trickster in a pretty good spot. And I think he just has to deal with this creature now. Meaning you can't play like an Enigma Drake or something. Because if he does, I'm pretty happy to just attack into it. He doesn't have anything. I could play Storm Tamer, but it'll kill it in response. I could attack, and if he tries to kill it, I can Wizard's Retort the kill spell and continue to develop card advantage off of my Mistcloak Herald. Let's do that. Let's try that. See what happens. If he lets me tap to attack, I'll at least get the Charter Course. He's allowed me to tap to attack, so I have attacked this turn. That was a misplay, my dude. So here, and that's why we didn't play the Storm Tamer first, because we did get our attack trigger, meaning the Charter Course will resolve. Or not necessarily resolve, although it's on 1 mana, so it will, but it will actually cause us to not have to discard a card. So this Lightning Strike, I should probably just Wizard's Retort it. Just to keep making him have it. Like, he'd have to have a shock, and I would be shocked if he didn't just play it when I was tapped out. So, or at least on my upkeep. So let's keep trying to ride this Mistcloak Herald. This could be a mistake. but I'm just going to keep making him have it and keep drawing them sweet, sweet cards. So Siren Stormtamer can come down next turn. I think at this point he needs to deal with his Mistcloak Herald. If he waits another turn, he's just a very bad player. Like, say I was playing Esper Control against this deck. I usually have a decent time because, especially if I'm on the play, I just Moment of Craving the one drop before they can do anything. Because I know that chances are the next turn they could just go, okay, I'm going to Curious Obsess it, I'm going to remove it in response, I have a Dive Down or a Spell Pierce, then it's very bad for you. We don't want that at all. So in this position, of course, we would like to play one creature holding up Merfolk Trickster, I think. We're just going to use our mana and play Warkite Marauder. It's especially good if his next creature is Crackling or Enigma Drake. Because if it's either of those cards, I can just Merfolk Trickster, tap it anyway, so it won't really matter too much, but the turns after that, if he doesn't interact with Warkite Marauder, I can keep shrinking down his Drake and pushing damage. And ultimately, even though we are trying to interact with his interaction, we still need to be pushing damage, because if we get too far into the late game, it's going to be hard for us to play through something like a Niv Mizzet, or even a Ralzeric can be difficult. So this is a chart, of course, and that's not very good for him at all. He's going to have to discard a card. He didn't get a combat step, and now he's down to 2 mana, maybe 3, which lets him interact once, which I'm fine with, because I'll just flash him Merfolk Trickster and get my Charter Course. Well, we're going... Now, here's the trap. If I flash in Trickster and he has a Fiery Cannonade, we're in trouble. I think I'm just going to take my turn. Especially because if he plays Niv Mizzet, I'd like to be able to tap it down. So let's just attack for 1, or 2. Bring him down to 14 and try to cast a Charter Course. Boom. It worked. Okay, does this work? Can I have this one? Please, opponent, let me have Charter Course. That feels really good. Play out this island. No reason to keep extending. If he casts something like Fiery Cannonade, I don't want to be overexposed to it. I will flash in one of my Tricksters at end of turn, just because if he casts Fiery Cannonade to 2 for 1 me, that'll incentivize him to do it now before actually being able to deal with all these creatures. That's a Niv Mizzet. Unfortunately for him, I don't know that this is good enough. With all these Tricksters I have. So, because the Trickster is going to come down and tap his Niv Mizzet down immediately. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is come in. Yep, that's going to happen. Thank you for auto-selecting that. And then we're definitely going to play Exclusion Mage. And we're definitely going to put that back in his hand. And then we don't need to play anything else because we have another Trickster. So if he plays his Niv Mizzet again, we're just going to tap it down. There is the argument that maybe we're supposed to play 2 creatures, but I don't like that very much. So we're going to resolve the Niv Mizzet. And now we're going to make you hurt a little bit. We're going to bring it down to 2. Alright, so that's another land. We'll just draw out the land, I guess. Combat in for 8. Yeah, let's shrink that bad boy down a little bit. And I don't think we're gonna save Stormtamer and Mistcloak Herald just in case he does find a Fire Cannonade. But we are gonna bring in a Stormtamer into the fray just so single target removal I can use it to stop him from killing my Warkite Marauder. Although he's just gonna hit my Stormtamer, but I'd rather hit Stormtamer than Warkite Marauder here, I think. So he's gonna hit the Marauder. I think. Yeah, I think we're just gonna try to protect it. What else you got? Maybe I was supposed to play out both Marauders, or both of the Siren Stormtamers. It's very possible that was supposed to be the play I made. Chemister's Insight. That's going to deal a lot of damage. Maybe this is getting out of our hands again. Niv Mizzet is just very good against us. Because now he's going to be able to deal with at least one other creature. And there's got to be a burn spell in his hand after all this drawing. Okay. If he has a burn spell, we are almost certainly dead in the water. Unless we can draw a dive down, Then we can play Mystical Herald, Siren Storm Tamer, have Dive Down, and be able to get him for unblockable damage next turn. Or the turn after next. He's looking at his hand. He's got to have like Lightning Strike or something. Lava Coil, Lightning Strike. Something to deal with something. That's a shock. So would I have been able to get there if I had cast my Siren Storm Tamer? This is 1, 2, 3. And then Shock's going to resolve and kill this. Oh wait, Shock already resolved. Oh, well yeah, I probably should have just played the Siren Storm Tamer. Although I was playing around a card that he didn't end up having. So I don't feel too bad about that. This one's hard. Because like he could just draw a bunch of cards. He's going to draw and kill the Mystical Herald anyway. And he's got a Chemist's Insight. So if I play out both of these creatures, he can draw, kill one of my guys, use Chemist's Insight, kill another one of my guys, or two of them. And then, oh god, that's so bad. I don't think we have a way out of this. I think we have to play the game to see what we get, but like maybe I live in a world where I just hold back these 2 1-drops and try to draw something like a Merfolk Trickster or an Exclusion Mage. And I think that's what we're on. Oops, that was a mistake. We're going to concede now. That was supposed to be no attackers. Alright, so game 3. If we win it, we go 5-0. If we lose it, we go 4-2. Or 5-1 or 4-2. I'd love to go 5-1. So why didn't we bring in the Syncopate is my first question. Yeah. So we're going to do that. Maybe our Essence Scatters just aren't that good. He's going to be spending most of his turns interacting with me. Maybe I just need to get them out of my deck and rely on my actual counter magic. Like maybe Negate's fine. Or maybe I want my Night Veil Sprites back on the play. I don't know, but we're just going to run it back. Because either way, I need this league to end after this game so I can get to some other stuff I have to do with my day. I go first. I have a Storm Tamer, a Spell Pierce, a Curious Obsession, a Syncopate, and a Trickster. We're going to keep that. Now, there's a chance that this is one of those games where in order to not punt it, I don't just cast my Storm Tamer into a Shock. I haven't taken this line of play yet. It could be very wrong. I think he probably wants to play a tap land on one, so we're going to keep playing the way we've been playing, and I'm going to reassess later whether I'm supposed to be holding these back on turn 1 or not against decks that could play Shock or Deadweight. There's the land. Here's the Shock. Feels bad. Oh, yikes. Shivan Fire, just as bad. Alright, 1-drop. No, that's a dive down. We'll end it there. Maybe we're not supposed to expose this Merfolk Trickster either. Maybe we just punted this game. I don't know. Let's go Trickster. Kill my Trickster. I know you have the kill spell. Alright, he doesn't have the kill spell. Let's Curiously Obsess our Trickster. This is a very inquisitive fish. And he would like to see what's in your pond, please. So, Syncopate or Dive Down here? Or Spell Pierce or Dive Down? I think Dive Down, just so I can, like, Spell Pierce, a Chemist's Insight, or, like, a Board Wipe or something. Yeah, that has to be correct. Let's go Combat. Probably a land would be the best thing to draw off of this. It's not a land. Yikes. If it was a land, we'd have Spell Pierce, which would be great. We still got another turn. I'd really just love to see a Spell Pierce off the top. Okay. This is strange. I'm surprised I'm being allowed to attack in again. If he tries to remove it here, I have to just assume he's not playing optimally. He should have just killed that on his turn, because now I can interact. Yeah, that's just not correct. You are making bad decisions, sir. Spell Pierce. And if you play Shock, I am just going to syncopate it for 1. I'm just going to go all in on this Merfolk Trickster, dealing as much damage as I can get it to. Or I guess Shock doesn't work because it's a 3/3, so yay. So we will take action. It's a negate. Negate is a fine card here. So we're drawing all of the right cards out of our deck, and he is interacting at all the wrong times. He needed to cast that Blink of an Eye when it was his turn. Even though he taps out on his turn, I no longer am able to generate more card advantage because he's the control deck, and right now he's sitting on about as much, he's seen as many cards as I have at this point. This is just an Enigma Drake. I do want to counter it because it can't get big enough to just deal with Trickster. That's the problem with putting Curious Obsession on something like a Merfolk Trickster. Okay. So that's another land, so we're in a very, very good spot here. Here, in this position, I think it's correct. Maybe I want to spread it because of this Warkite Marauder. I think that is the case. We're going to get in first. Play the Warkite Marauder, holding up Negate. Because if it's like a Fiery Cannonade, I'll be able to negate it. We won't cast Curious Obsession. Also, if he counters like the negate with a negate, my Merfolk Trickster lives through that. And if his turn is Crackling Drake, I can attack over it. And if he follows that up in the mid, he's dead on the swing back because of Warkite Marauder. Yeah, I think he just lost this game. And he punted it. He could have actually been in a much better position than he is now. But because of his punt, that is no longer the case. I've already got a creature with Curious Obsession. Playing the Curious Obsession does change my clock. Although if I play it next turn, it's still lethal. It's just combat. I'll hold it back just because I had the Mistcloak Herald, and the nice package of Herald, Curious Obsession, and Negate are very good. Yeah, this guy keeps trying to interact on my turn, which I frankly do not understand. I'm just going to have to write it off that he's probably not very good. Do I get in now? Like, am I just able to hit you, or are you going to deal another 1-for-1? You're going to shock the Warkite Marauder. Well, that's not going to be good enough, man. We'll take the action. We'll get the land. We're not even afraid of, like, Fiery Cannonade anymore. So at this point, I think we just play our hand out. That way, if he plays Niv Mizzet next turn, we're able to attack through with Mistcloak Herald. Because Fiery Cannonade doesn't do it. It's just going to be 2 damage, and we left with the Merfolk Trickster with the Curious Obsession on it. He's got 1 card left in his hand, and it can't be a Niv Mizzet because of that. So it's an Enigma Drake, which is a fine card. That is a very good card for me. I'm just going to get in with this Mistcloak Herald. I'm going to draw a card off of it. It's a pretty good card. I can't tell whether or not I'm afraid of Fiery Cannonade. I haven't seen it this game. It's just a card that I know he could be playing. But since Warkite Marauder does just kill him if he can't interact, I think I'm going to put it on the battlefield. It seems very ROI positive if he doesn't top deck some type of a board wipe. And I think the only one he can be playing at this point is Fiery Cannonade. What's his best play? He's going to hit me. Is he going to hit me? That doesn't seem right. Alright, so he's not actually dead on board. Yeah, we don't play the Storm Tamer. We're going to make him interact first. And then this is going to resolve, and that's going to be put on the ground. I don't know if he knew that was going to happen or not. He's not going to block. Well, he could have still blocked the Merfolk Trickster. Alright, well there we go. I'm kind of angry my opponent punted that game, and I'd rather play a good game of Magic and lose then play a game of Magic where I was supposed to lose, and I won because my opponent couldn't quite get there as far as like playing their cards in the correct sequence. So this is from one control player to any of you who are also control players. I do typically play blue-white X control decks, and it is almost always correct to interact on your turn against a deck that has so much of its own interaction, so many ways to stop you from interacting. Basically, if you have a lightning strike and you're going to go, okay, this is an instant, so I'm using your turn, and you pass the turn and you let your mono blue tempo player untap 3 islands, well, now your lightning strike has the risk of going up against a spell pierce, a dive down, if its games 2 and 3, and a gate, Wizard's Retort. If they cast a Siren Storm Tamer, you're forced to do it right then and there, and then they can interact and tempo play you that way. So it's just generally very bad. But I probably should have, I don't know if I would have lost the game, but I should have had a harder time, and I didn't. Here we have another Discovery Dispersal, so I'm actually kind of happy we got that. And we are 5-0. So let's go ahead and claim our prizes. 2,100 coins, which is good for another couple of games. I don't want that. Maybe I want that at some point. And then we got Admiral Beckett Brass. That's neat. We'll take those cards. And then, while I've got you guys sitting here, I think I'm going to go ahead and open up 2 packs, because currently I am grinding for whatchamacallits, wild cards. So what should we buy? I think I just like Guilds of Ravnica, just because there's a bunch of Guilds cards I'm trying to open right now. So I will just purchase a couple Guilds of Ravnica packs. Do we buy 3? No, I think I'll save exactly enough to make sure that even if I don't do anything else, I can play another competitive league. First one, what do we get? Show me the money. I think it's so weird that there's not like a full run of cards in here. So we got 1 uncommon, and this is another uncommon, so we're going to be very good for mono blue. And then Expansion Explosion, which is actually a card that I'm thinking about playing. So I'm happy about that. No wild cards, which is kind of a bummer. But it's still a pack. We got a Flower Flourish, which I'm happy with. Radical Idea, I could end up wanting to play, although I don't have high hopes for this card. At least not in the control deck. It seems very weird. Oh, yay. My local game store is selling these in the 25-cent foil binder. That's how bad everyone knows this card is. I just don't see this being able to be very good. I could be wrong. Guys like Dev from over at SBMGT tend to think that this card might be not a sleeper, but a little more powerful than it's being rated at. But I just don't think it's very good. And still, while I've got you here, I guess I will continue to edit the mono blue tempo deck. That is, do I need any more uncommons? I need a sleep at the very least. And we don't have any common wild cards, so we can't get our other Spell Pierce. But at the very least, I need a copy of Sleep. And then Syncopate, looks like it was printed. Is that common or uncommon? I can't tell. Do we need anything else? We could use, I mean, nothing else we need is uncommon. So we're going to go ahead and burn 1 uncommon wild card for a copy of Sleep. Confirm. And what is just awful that we need to get out of here? Probably just Mystic Archaeologist. But I like that deck against, I bring it in against control players who like don't know how to interact properly, which there is unfortunately a lot of here. There's a lot of newer players on here, which is a good thing. You know, if you're a new player, definitely don't be afraid to hop on. But you know, try to learn when you make a mistake. That's the biggest thing about Magic the Gathering that I've learned is like, when you lose a game, it's really not so bad as long as you can figure out why you lost that game. And sometimes you lose a game because your opponent just had more resources than you. But a lot of the time, people lose games that they're like, oh man, well, I just couldn't do it. It's like, well, you made these misplays. Like in that game where I was able to beat control, it just came from him or her not understanding where to use their pieces of removal. And this Disperse I just think is very bad. So we'll take that out. And our sideboard is one step closer to being completely correct. Also, this is something I feel is necessary. What's a cool card? Yeah, you just look really cool. That's the slate for it. There we go. That's going to do it. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Happy I was able to go 5-0 on this league for this little YouTube series of videos I did. I will catch you guys on the next one. It's probably going to be another run through of mono blue tempo, just because I'm grinding this deck and trying to gain some actual wild cards to build. I think it's going to be Esper Control. I've already got one of my Zephyrias. I opened it from a pack, which was lucky, and I've got some of the pieces I need. But as everyone knows, there's a lot of rare lands in that deck. It's going to be very hard to grind for, but I think it's going to be worth it because these are the type of decks that I typically understand the most intimately. But I will see you guys next time. I have no clue when I'm going to actually be releasing the next video. I have no idea about a schedule, but if any of you guys like this or you want to see more content like this, definitely let me know. If there's something I'm doing that you don't like, definitely let me know. And if you're looking at my games like, oh man, you're misplaying like a mother right now. I don't know whether I'm supposed to swear on this channel or not, but I think you all know what I wanted to say. I understand that I'm not super great at these tempo decks. I'm actually pretty new to playing things that aren't like draw go counter magic. So we will see. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see everybody on the next one.